गिरिवरधारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। Everybody love you. जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभा गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी ओ जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्रशतश्री श्रीमद् गिरीश अभय चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की जय। श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर भगवान की जय। श्री निताय गौरचंद्र की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवत महापुराण की जय। जगद्गुरु शील प्रभुपाद की जय। समवेद भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्ठिकी। Hare Krishna to everyone. This morning we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 60, Text 45. tvak-śmaśru-roma-nakha-keśa-pinaddham antar. tvak-śmaśru-roma-nakha-keśa-pinaddham antar. māṁsa asthi rakta kṛmi kapha pitta vātam. māṁsa asthi rakta kṛmi kapha pitta vātam. jīvac-chavaṁ bhajati kānta-matir vimūḍhā. jīvac-chavaṁ bhajati kānta-matir vimūḍhā. yāte padābja-makarandam ajighratī. yāte padābja-makarandam ajighratī strī. asthi rakta kṛmi kapha pitta vātam. jīvac-chavaṁ bhajati kānta-matir vimūḍhā. So everybody knows that the class is English here, right? So everybody knows that the class is in English. Yes, There is no Hindi translation. There is not. Mataji's. Tvak with skin, śmaśru whiskers, roma bodily hair, nakha nails, kesha and hair on the head, pinaddham covered, antaḥ inside, māṁsa flesh, asthi bones, rakta blood, kṛmi worms, wit stool, kapha mucus, pitta bile, vātam, and air, jīvat, living, śavam, a corpse, bhajati, worships, kānta, as husband or lover, matiḥ, whose idea, vimūḍhā, totally bewildered, ya, who, te, your, pada-abja, of the lotus feet, makarandam, the honey, ajighratī, not smelling, strī, woman. Translation. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus she accepts as her husband or lover a living corpse covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair and body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, feces, mucus, bile, and air. Everyone please repeat. A woman who fails to relish the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet becomes totally befooled, and thus she accepts as her husband or lover a living corpse covered with skin, whiskers, nails, head hair, and body hair, and filled with flesh, bones, blood, parasites, feces, mucus, bile, and air. Purport by the disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Here, Lord Krishna's chaste wife makes quite an unequivocal statement about material sense gratification based on the physical body. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments as follows on this verse. On the authority of the statement, Savai patih syāda kuto bhaya swayam, he indeed should become one's husband who can remove all fear. Shri Krishna is the real husband for all women at all times. Thus, a woman who worships someone else as her husband simply worships a dead body. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments further. Rukmini thus considered that although the sweetness of Lord Krishna's lotus feet is well known, and although he possesses an eternal body full of knowledge and bliss, foolish women reject him. An ordinary husband's body is covered on the outside by skin and hair, otherwise being filled with blood, feces, flesh, bile, and so on. It would be overwhelmed with flies and other vermin attracted by its bad smell and other offensive qualities. Those who have no practical experience of the beauty and purity of Krishna or Krishna consciousness may be confused by such uncompromising denunciations of material bodily gratification. But those who are enlightened in Krishna consciousness will be enlivened and enthused by such absolutely truthful statements. Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapurana ki. Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। tvak-śmaśru-roma-nakha-keśa-pinaddham antar māṁsa asthi rakta kṛmi kapha pitta vātam jīvac-chavaṁ bhajati kānta-matir vimūḍhā yāte pada-abja-makarandam ajighratī strī. First of all, my sincerest humble obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnavas here, also to all the Vaishnavas joining online. Thank you all for taking out your time and being with us here at the Krishna Balaram Mandir in the morning Srimad-Bhagavatam session. The heart swells with so much joy and gratitude towards our beloved founder Acharya, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, who very mercifully gave us this morning program, and especially the Srimad Bhagavatam class. When we read these thunderbolt verses from Srimad Bhagavatam, when we are reading by ourselves, sometimes we just, we may just emote a little bit and then just quickly move on to the next verse. Wow, that's tough, that's heavy. But when we have to give a class, when we have to speak, when we have to really go into the subject matter, that's when we realize what a great fortune we all have to be reading these jewel-like verses of the Srimad Bhagavatam. For those of you who are joining new, I'll just quickly summarize and give you the context. This is a very sweet, loving exchange going on between the Supreme Lord Krishna and his beloved wife Rukmini. One of the very exciting exchanges between couples is when they tease each other. They like to pull each other's leg. And because Krishna is also the supreme lover, the most sweetest of all lovers, he also likes to do these things. For many reasons. First is to just enhance the rasa, the love between his beloved. But Krishna does not do anything just for the sake of some enjoyment. There's always lessons also there. Krishna, through these types of verses and these types of exchanges, he also is trying to tell us that relationship with me is not a very mechanical thing. It's not like I've created robots and the way I program you, you have to behave. He likes sometimes when his devotees counter-argue and defeat him and tell him, you are wrong. He likes that. He likes when his cowherd boyfriends pull his leg, tease him, make him cry. He likes all that because that is all part of love. He likes when Madhu Mangal will mix jasmine flowers in the samosa and offer him and say, hey Krishna, try this. It's really nice. And he will try and make such a face and spit it out. What is this? So in the same way, here he's teasing Rukmini. Hey, what did you actually see in me? I am not even, a noble king. When Jarasandha attacked, I flee, I ran to the sea. Who am I? I mean, what did you see in me? There are so many nice kings like Shishupal. You could have married Shishupal. Why did you marry me? Only beggars, they worship me. So in this way, he's trying to ridicule the love of Rukmini by making fun. That you made a great mistake. You are a fool. That you married me. You should not have married me. And of course, Rukmini is such a loving hearted person. First she fainted. She could not believe that how can my Lord speak like this? She could not even hear. And she fainted. And then when Krishna saw that, I think that was an overdose. So, he said, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to be so hurt and all that. I just wanted you to express your love. And then we see how beautifully Rukmini starts glorifying her great fortune. So the verses that we are reading is one of these verses where Rukmini is defeating Krishna's arguments by saying that I'm not a fool. How do you say that? All the scriptures are filled with verses after verses that those who sincerely worship Krishna are the most intelligent. Jai Krishna bhaje, Shri bodo chatur. So I am not a fool, I am very intelligent. Krishna varnam tusha krishnam sango pangastra parshadam yajanti sumedhasa. Those who actually have dedicated their lives to serving the Lord and following in the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are the most intelligent. So in this way, Rukmini is trying to establish that I am actually very intelligent. So let us try to first of all understand this verse from the perspective of Rukmini. Rukmini is explaining that those who have not really experienced the fragrance of the honey of your lotus feet very easily get befooled by the so-called materialistic attraction of a worldly man. Now, my dear devotees, we are talking about Rukmini, who is the principal queen of Krishna. Day in and day out, she is with Krishna, experiencing the supreme sweetness of the Lord. So obviously, for her to even think about anyone else is out of question. And these are the emotions that she's obviously going to get. How can I even think of somebody who is a bag of stool, mucus, bile, covered with hair, all these dirty things? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in the Madhurya Kadambini, he describes what happens when the jiva attains Krishna Prem. A very beautiful description. He says that when the jiva finally attains the goal of his existence, Krishna Prem, Krishna himself comes to him face to face. And when he sees the beautiful form of the Lord, all his senses become like eyes. And he just goes on drinking the beauty of Krishna. And then it is so overwhelming that he just faints. And then Krishna again touches him and brings him back to consciousness. And then when Krishna comes closer, he begins to smell the fragrance of the Lord. Now there is a beautiful description about the fragrance of Krishna. Does anyone know that Krishna has 4 types of fragrances? 4 types. Anyone knows which are these 4 types? One is musk, or kasturi, which is in Sanskrit. The other one, anyone else knows the other ones, other 3? No? Sandalwood. Did anyone say sandalwood? Yes, chandan, sandalwood. One more, anyone? Aguru, if you've heard. Aguru. I'll tell you in detail what these are. Aguru is also a very, very amazing fragrance. And then camphor. So, at different times, or maybe a combination of all of these, Krishna can manifest these fragrances. Now, all of us know what is musk. It is an animal product. It comes from a deer, mainly in Nepal and those parts of the world. Aguru, you know what is aguru? It's a very special type of resin that is produced by the aloes wood tree. This is a special tree which, in order to counteract some kind of infection, some kind of fungus on the tree barks, produces a certain type of resin, which is this aguru. And it is so fragrant, that practically in the entire world, the entire perfume industry runs on this. And did you know 1 kilogram of aguru is $100,000 US? It's more expensive than gold and diamonds. This is just one smell that Krishna produces from Mother Earth. He says, I am the smell in Mother Earth, right? That is aguru. Then sandalwood, everyone knows chandan. Sandalwood also has a very special fragrance. And camphor. Camphor, kapur, what they call in Hindi. That is also one of Krishna's fragrance. So, this is the Lord. Why are these comparisons in the Srimad Bhagavatam given about our fragrances and our byproducts and whatever we release and the Lord's? First is to humble us down. If anyone has the audacity to compare oneself to Krishna, first of all, you should know, you should have the ability to make your stool smell like nectar. Rishabh could do that. Rishabh stool, he would lie down in his own stool. But those who were Paramhamsas, they could recognize him because of the fragrance. Talking about this, and now because we are on this subject, so please bear with me, I'm going to be a little gross here. Anyone from Bombay here? Now, If you haven't been to Bombay, one of the most amazing experiences is the local trains of Mumbai. I was there in Mumbai for some years, and many times I had to travel. And there you actually get the experience of what is explained here. The obnoxious stench of the material body. You know, when people go on dates and they go to see, some women, they will put all fragrances and deodorants and everything. But when you are crushed in a local train with 7,000 people around you, then you realize what is the real odor. People used to fight with each other just because of the obnoxious gases they would release. 2 रुपए की दवाई नहीं ले सकते तुम. Like that they would curse each other. You can't buy some medicine. Why you are giving us such a pain here? That is the human body. So, Bhagavatam, which is the sun, it is the rising sun in this age of Kali Yuga, which reveals so many truths. And one of them is this, that this human form, although it's very valuable, there's nothing to be proud about. The entire glamour industry, Bollywoods, Hollywoods, and all kinds of woods. What is their fundamental principle? It's all how much you can exhibit this bag of stool and mucus and bile and obnoxious things. We can see the caliber of today's human society if you go into these cinema theaters. Some lady half naked will come and start dancing, and then the entire population will start whistling and jumping and dancing, right? Not realizing that what are you whistling for and what are you happy about? This disgusting bag of stool? Prabhupada, he had his own style. He once narrated this very amazing story. So there is this guy who has a full meal. And then, after a few hours, he has to answer nature's call. And as he's passing, he's saying, "Oh my God, what disgusting smell. What the hell are you?" He's cursing his own stool. And Prabhupada said, the stool answers back. Seriously? You are telling what am I? I was a delicious gulab jamun, a samosa before I went inside you. You are the one who's disgusting. So that's the harsh reality. And we all need to seriously sit and acknowledge. Now, as it is explained here, that women who don't worship Krishna, who are not attracted by Krishna's fragrance, are befooled, and they accept a lover or a husband, who's made of all these obnoxious things. It does not mean that it doesn't apply to men. It's either way, because we are prakriti, and men or women, the principle is same. Men who are not attracted to Krishna also do the exact same thing. So Bhagavatam is here to open our eyes, to teach us what is really worshipable. Now, there is a very important question which can come into our hearts. According to this verse, everybody who is not madly in love with Krishna, who does not accept only and only Krishna as their savior, as their husband, as their master, is a fool. Does that mean that nobody should get married? What does that mean? Bhagavatam is filled with such episodes like Daksha Prajapati, who had 10,000 sons. He's Daksha Prajapati, he has to populate the world. Now Narada Muni, who is a supremely compassionate Vaishnava, comes to this 10,000 guys and says, hey, what are you guys doing? This material world is such a quagmire of illusion. You don't want to get involved in all this Maya. And that's Narada Muni preaching. He gives so many metaphors and allegorical stories, and then they are all, yes, we are ready to take sannyas. And 10,000 men gone in a flash. Daksha Prajapati is biting his lips. What is this Narada Muni doing here? He again gets another 1,000 sons. Narada Muni goes, look at your older brothers. Follow in their footsteps. 1,000 gone. Then Daksha Prajapati gets 60 daughters. And Narada Muni says, okay, I'm not going to touch them. I'm going to leave them alone. So the Shastra says that, yes, it is important for women to get married. In fact, Srila Prabhupada had this famous statement. All the Matajis, all the girls should be married, and all the guys should remain brahmachari. And you would wonder how. He said that is transcendental management. So yes, the Varnashram system definitely prescribes that we have to marry those who want to, those who have to, especially the women. But then it is also explained by our acharyas what is the correct mood of accepting these responsibilities in life. None of us, the scriptures very clearly have outlined. You all know the story of liquid beauty. If someone is too much carried away by external beauty, which is perishable, which is just skin deep, which is anyways going to wither away after some time, then he is just enhancing the illusion more and more and more. And if you are trying to see how powerful Krishna's Maya Shakti is, Daivi Yesha Gunmayi Mama Maya Duratyaya Mame Vaye Prapati. Krishna says that it is extremely difficult to cross. Don't try to test it. I'll tell you a story of a great Rishi, Markandeya Rishi. That's also in the Bhagavatam. Markandeya Rishi was such a self-realized, completely renounced soul. The kind of austerities that he could perform was unimaginable. Completely aloof from sense gratification. And obviously, whenever some rishi would try to, cross the mark, the demigods would get alarmed. Say, kuch to gadbad hai, karna padega. And they started testing him. They started sending all apsaras and all, their whatever way they would distract him. And nothing worked on Markandeya Rishi. All the apsaras were fed up of dancing and they said, we are not, no use. And finally Naranarayan Rishi comes and gives darshan. And Markandeya Rishi is so pleased to see the beautiful form of the Lord. And then he says, I want a benediction. I want to see the power of your illusory energy. Now, here is Markandeya Rishi who, could not be moved by any, dancing women or anything. That was out of question for him. So obviously Krishna was not going to send him apsaras or anything like that, to test or to show him his illusory power. Krishna just smiled. Narayana just smiled. He said, so be it. And then Markandeya Rishi, he goes to his ashram, goes on with his duties, activities. In the evening, he sits for his sandhya, closes his eyes, and then, all of a sudden, he sees that he is transported in the middle of the ocean. And there is heavy torrential rains from all directions. And raindrops like pillars are pounding upon the ocean. And there are huge waves that are tossing up and down. And he is in the middle of that ocean, being tossed up and down. And it is so real. It's not that he's dreaming, he can feel it. He can feel the tossing of the waves. And he's scared. And in this way, millions of years have passed. He's just swimming in the ocean, thirsty, hungry, doesn't know where am I going? Finally, he sees an island and says, okay, at last there is something there. So he goes on the island, and there he sees a beautiful baby, bluish complexion, sucking on his own toe. And the sight of this beautiful boy is so enamoring. It is so pleasing to the heart. He completely forgets all his hunger, his thirst, all the fatigue from the millions of years of tossing of the waves. Everything is gone. And then this little boy inhales. And Markandeya Rishi goes inside his body. And then he sees all the universes, all the galaxies and planets inside his body. And after a few seconds, he exhales and he comes out, and back he's into the ocean tossing on the waves. And he doesn't realize, who was that boy? Why did I go inside his body? And as he is wondering, he just opens his eyes. And it is just a few minutes of his Gayatri that he was doing that all this happened. This is the power of Krishna's illusory potency. So, for all of us here in the material world, Krishna doesn't have to do all that. He has all these simple techniques of bewildering our minds. Just imagine the most amazing thing about Krishna, why we call him the most mystical of all personalities, is because it is only Krishna. It is only Krishna who can create a bag of stool, urine, mucus, bile, faces, hair. He can create something like that, activate it, and then the magic starts. And all the other bags are wondering, wow, what a bag. Just imagine, see Krishna's power. If you see a naked buffalo on the street, buffaloes and all these animals are always naked, you don't even feel like that, wow, what a beautiful figure. You don't feel like that. But if a male buffalo sees, he's going to start having goosebumps. Right? So all customized mechanisms Krishna has created. But what is the reality? What is the truth of everything? The truth is that if there is anything nice in this material body, that is Krishna. Because Krishna very mercifully chooses to be with the living entity, with the jiva, wherever the jiva goes. So, this is what our acharyas are trying to explain. That yes, we have to be in relationships. We are social beings. We cannot just renounce things and artificially and just go to the jungle. But the perfection of a relationship is when we understand the essence of that relationship. Lord Chaitanya said, Naham vipro nacha narpatir napi vaishyo na shudro Naham varni nacha grihapatir no vanasto gatirva Kintu nikhila prodyan paramananda purnamritabdir Gopi bharatur padakamalyor das dasanu das. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu has beautifully explained that I am neither a Brahman nor a Vaishya, Shudra or a Kshatriya. I am not a householder, I am not a brahmachari, sannyasi, vanaprastha. I am only and only the servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord of the Gopis. So the perfection of any relationship is when we understand that Krishna is the real husband. I am just doing the role here. I'm just acting. I have been given this role. I'm not the enjoyer, I'm not the controller of this lady. And the lady should think, I'm not the controller. I'm not the proprietor, I'm not the enjoyer of this man. Krishna is, because he is the supreme pati, he is the husband of everyone. So when we have this consciousness in our relationships, where we understand that the love that I have for this man or the love that I have for this woman is actually part of Krishna. It is the quality, it is the vibhuti of Krishna. Like Krishna says in the 10th chapter, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam shrimad urjitameva va. Everything that is amazing, everything that is beautiful, everything that is full of talent, is graceful, is actually but part of my splendor. So when you see beauty in your own wife, or when you see something good in your partner, in your spouse, don't think that, wow, I'm so lucky, I can enjoy, I have so much sense for my sense gratification. See the Lord in it. When we try to have this Krishna vision, then these relationships will be meaningful and they are not going to bind us down. So I hope, to some degree I've been able to answer this question, which apparently looks like a contradiction. According to Rukmini, nobody should marry. Because every man is a bag of stool. Right? We should not take undue advantage of the scriptures also. That's one last point I would like to say. And many times when we start fighting, no wonder the Bhagavatam says that you are like this. That can be our attitude. No. The Bhagavatam says for all of us, every single one of us are like that. But the real constitutional position is that we are Krishnas. We belong to Krishna. And to the degree we remember this, to the degree we are able to perceive this in everyone, to that degree the relationship is beautiful. And to the degree we forget that, And to the degree we are only on the sensual or the bodily platform, to that degree, all these obnoxious things in our relationships will keep coming out. Why is there so much of divorce and strife and so much of fighting between couples? All over the world, in every culture we see, there is no happiness. The reason is simple, because there is no Krishna in these relationships. So let us all pray to Srila Prabhupada, to all our acharyas, to our beloved lordships, that they may bless us to always remember that the reason we are all together is to serve them. There is no other reason why we are here. We know each other, we love each other, we respect each other only because Krishna is the binding force. Thank you very much. With these words, I would like to close the session. If there are any questions or any comments, please feel free to. Yes, Mataji. I will need a microphone, I think, for her.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for the class. I was meditating that you spoke about relationships between a husband and wife. We should see Krishna in our husbands and serve in that way. But what about the situation when you see your husband serving Krishna so lovingly and that grows your love for him? So what about that love?
See, nowhere in the scriptures it is said that you can't love. Actually, it is impossible for the jiva to not love. Our inherent nature is to love. And neither does Krishna in such a autocratic way says that love me only, don't love anybody else. No, that's not what he's trying to say. He's just trying to say is that try to see me in every element in this creation, because he is the source of all love. So if you have some loving sentiments towards anyone in this world, let those sentiments be properly fructifying. Cultivate these sentiments in the right way, so that these sentiments ultimately help you develop your love for the Lord. Right? So, because the spiritual world is full of love, and there are so many relationships there. Right? It's not that the spiritual world has no couples, no husband-wives. Everything is there. But everything is so beautifully aligned towards the central force, which is the Lord. So the same thing can happen here also. We can have beautiful loving sentiments. We can have beautiful loving relationships based on this truth, that what I really love about this soul is his love for Krishna. So there's nothing separate from Krishna. That is the point. I hope that is answers. Any other question? Any other comment? Okay, thank you all very much for your kind association and kind attention. Grantraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki. Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you reduce?